Hi, I'm finally doing part two of what I ate during my raw vegan pregnancy. This is part of being a new mom, I think, is just finding the time for things, and here I am finally. So the last video I addressed kind of more the big picture of pregnancy and raw food. And for this video, I wanted to just get into the nitty-gritty of what I ate and what my challenges were and what my celebrations were, what was easy. So, like I mentioned before, I was raw vegan for years before getting pregnant, and I was open to eating other things if my body told me to, because I was very connected to my body and it told me what to eat. So I was like, I don't know, let's see, maybe this will be different. And like I mentioned, I did eat potatoes a couple of times, also hard-boiled eggs a couple of times, particularly traveling when it was hard to get kind of my regular food. Other than that, very much I just ate raw vegan still. But it was challenging sometimes, and not so much really though about being raw. It was challenging in that I felt nauseous a lot and hungry at the same time. So it didn't matter what diet I was going to be eating, that was super challenging for me. So I'm going to backstory you a little teeny bit to show you what changed for me during my pregnancy. So before I became pregnant, my diet and a lot of other things were dialed. Like I had years of kind of perfecting for me what felt good, also changing things in the moment when they, changed for me. But my food was very consistent. And so this is what generally I would do before I got pregnant. I would get up, I would have a glass of water with either lemon juice or apple cider vinegar in it. I would take a walk. I would make a fresh green juice. I would meditate and do yoga. I would then have a green smoothie. I would do some work. I would then have the bulkiest meal of the day for me, which would be like a raw taco, whatever I was preparing that was more of obviously like a solid, heavier food. And I do like to eat at least one meal like that a day. So, and then often at night, I would have another green smoothie for dinner. So it was very easy for me. It was very consistent. My body was very happy. I was extremely healthy eating that way. And then I got pregnant, and my computer's about to die on me, so I'm going to plug it in. Apologize for not editing too. To cut those things out, but baby. So those things were very set for me. And when I got pregnant, the freaking wheels fell off of that. Mostly because I felt nauseous a lot, or I also felt like instantly like I have to eat something now, or I would feel even more nauseous, horrible. And I think that's somewhat common. My daughter-in-law had the same thing, and she would actually throw up if she didn't eat fast enough. So I didn't throw up during my pregnancy, but man, I had a lot of nausea, and that was really uncomfortable. And so that was my biggest challenge. And the biggest challenge within that for me was that I had a huge food aversion. It was more of like a texture aversion to green smoothies. And you can see green smoothies were like a huge staple in my life. They were sort of my breakfast and my dinner. So that was super challenging for me to replace that with something that was just as nutritious that I could stomach. So I just really played around with a lot of things. I had a lot of kind of angst about it, honestly, because I knew that was such great nutrition and I couldn't eat that many salads, to keep up with that. So I just did my best. And I would say to everyone, when you're pregnant, just do your best. Like, I'm such the queen of being hard on myself and comparing myself to myself at my best, And gosh, that makes it really hard, especially when you're pregnant, because your body is doing so many different things and you have to kind of just go with it. So just go with it. But let's see, I used an app called the Rawtarian app. If you haven't found out about that yet, check it out. She's been around forever and does a lot of very simple, like very few ingredient, very easy to procure ingredients. And even Kyle would help me make recipes or make recipes for me sometimes off of that app. I could just like take a picture of the shopping list that comes with the app and send it to him and say, hey, can you pick up these things? And he would often even make the food. This is not an ad for Rawtarian. I don't know her personally or anything. It was just something that Kyle and I both relied on during that time because it was very simple and easy to use. And the food was good. So I found like macaroni and cheese on there. We did a lot of, I remember taco salad that was really good. So I just kind of tried to play with it and substitute things in. I remember one night being so nauseous and so starving at the same time that it was just, I don't know if you've had this if you're pregnant, but it was like a desperate, awful feeling. And I remember Kyle bringing up a banana with almond butter and feeding me that in bed and me just crying. And so I think just, being pregnant can be challenging, period. And, being pregnant and being super in tune with your body can also be extra challenging. And knowing my body didn't want a cheeseburger or, something that I could like send Kyle to pizza or something in the middle of the night. Like I couldn't send him to get, raw pizza in the middle of the night. So that was extra challenging in that sense. But, I just kind of did my best, and that's all you can do. And I did keep an eye out for a few particular things, specifically to do with raw vegan. So raw vegans know we have to watch out for our B12. It's actually not more, people are not more likely to be B12 deficient if you eat meat, which not many people know about. But that's something that I keep a very close eye on. And so I go get periodic blood testing to make sure that my B12 is fine. I've never had a problem with it. Been raw vegan for over 9 years. Never had a problem with that, just as an aside. But I was careful with it. So I made sure to do nutritional yeast. I also took a raw prenatal. I still take that now. And I just feel like, it's extra insurance, Made sure it had the folic acid in it. Made sure it had the B12. Another thing I did that I did before and I still do, will always do, I think, is watch out for the omega-3s. So, and to have a good 3-6 balance. So what I did was, and what I do now, is I take Udo's 369 with DHA. So you want all those good fats for brain development for your fetus in particular, and for your brain working anyway. It's all good for you. But so I did do that daily. And that's just an easy way to make sure that you get those oils. I also, did my raw vegan stuff where I ate a lot of nuts and seeds and veggies and fruits. When I was raw vegan, I was a lot heavier on like the sweet carby side. That seemed to be what my body liked to a degree more than when I was raw vegan prior to being pregnant. So I tended not to have a sweet tooth at all. And afterwards, I would say I have a little bit more sweet tooth than I did previously, but just because I kind of indulge in that stuff more, and when I stop, it sort of goes away. But during pregnancy, I did a little bit more raw desserts and fruits and that kind of thing. So I feel like that's kind of the bulk of it. It was being raw vegan and being pregnant, like I said, was challenging because it would have been challenging anyway, just because of the nausea. And fortunately for me, I lived in LA at the time, and raw vegan food is much more available there. I could go to restaurants and get raw vegan food. Amazing. It's always amazing to me. It's like the simplest way to eat. And it's just so hard to go out to eat to find anything except for a salad, basically, or, you throw together a few ingredients that you see on the menu that are raw. But to have like actually prepared raw dishes, gosh, even Seattle. If you're in Seattle or know about somewhere in Seattle besides Heartbeat, let me know, because I would love to find really good raw vegan food here, and haven't done it. It's just challenging to go out to eat. So I made most of my food, but in LA, if you're in LA, you have more options. Pardon me. So I would go to O'Lock. That was my favorite. I would go to O'Lock. Um, I would go to Plant Food and Wine. We would go to Erewhon Market, Joy Cafe in Thousand Oaks, or Westlake, I guess it is, has options. So if you're in LA, those are some great options. Please let me know if you're in Seattle, please. So that's about it. And I hope that was helpful. And I wish anybody well that's pregnant and raw vegan. I otherwise was, except for the nausea, super healthy, no issues with my pregnancy, all good. Baby was born completely healthy. She's been raw vegan for almost 2 years now. No issues. She's growing perfectly. Everything's developing nicely. We just went for her first, actually her second well baby check, because I took her at 6 days, and then we're kind of on a I don't know, natural hippie schedule over here. But I just took her again. Nothing's wrong. She's doing perfect. So I hope that will help quell any fears. I know even I, had some fears. I knew that my body was telling me what was appropriate to eat. But there's a lot of stuff from the outside that will tell you this isn't healthy for your baby. Your baby will be this, da, da, da. Let alone, about you when you go raw vegan. I don't know. If you are and you've seen a lot of those things, I address them in my book, like, oh, your teeth are going to fall out. Oh, your hair is going to fall out. Oh, you're going to be totally nutrient deficient. I mean, when you think about it, when you think about that kind of stuff, it's a little bit crazy, because when you cook food, what happens is the nutrients are degraded. So, I mean, you're eating really healthy. If you're eating a well-balanced, varied, vegan diet, raw vegan diet when you're pregnant. I'm not a doctor, but I've done it. It was amazing, and everyone is healthy, including myself. So I'm going to leave it at that. And gosh, I'm just sending love out to anyone who is raw vegan and pregnant, because there's just a lot of things that can be challenging as far as like what people tell you. And I was really lucky to have physicians and midwife and people who didn't even question my choices, just asked me and went, yep, that's healthy. People that were kind of on board with me and now also. So that was really helpful. But I know a lot of people don't have that. So I'm just sending love out to you if that's your experience. And like I said, I'm not a doctor. I can't, make any claims here, but just follow your heart, follow your body, and do what is right for you. That's always my best advice for myself and for anyone. So have a great day. Thanks for listening.